Do you ever feel like your social skills just aren't good enough? Like everyone can just speak naturally and you're stuck there overthinking every word that comes out of your mouth. Here's something that I want you to hear first. Most people with social anxiety are incredibly hard on themselves. And because of that, they often assume that their social skills are worse than they actually are. Anxiety has this weird way of magnifying everything. So one awkward moment becomes, I'm weird, I can't speak to people, I'm going to be like this forever. So before I even talk about improving communication skills, all that stuff matters. Because if you approach social skills from the mindset of, I need to fix myself, then every conversation is going to feel like a test. And anxiety just feeds on that. And the more we feed it, the stronger it grows. Through experience, I've realised that using communication tips only work once you stop treating anxiety like an emergency. So if your main goal in a conversation is to not feel anxious or have a perfect conversation or say this sentence right, then even good social skills tips will become another source of pressure. Social skills aren't this magical thing that just some people are born with. And actually, most of us had that natural social capability when we were younger. As kids, we spoke all the time, asked random questions, interrupted people and shouted for attention. And that natural social energy, it doesn't disappear. Anxiety just places fear and worry on top of it. So here are 5 things that I would suggest you practice lightly. Number 1 is to vary your rate of speech. When anxiety rises, people usually speed up. For example, doing a presentation at school, a good chunk of people would speed through them, including myself. Not because they wanted to, but because their body was in threat mode. Becoming more aware of that and trying to slow down helps your words land better. Just notice it sometimes. Even one slower sentence can really change the feel of a conversation. Number 2 is to play with volume. When anxious, a lot of people tend to speak quietly or mumble without really realising it. And then anxiety makes you think they can't understand me, my voice sounds weird. And sometimes just adding a little more volume helps. Like nothing crazy, just enough that you're being heard clearly. And yes, this can feel uncomfortable at first because being louder feels more exposing, and that's normal. But just try it, practice with it and see how it makes you feel. Number 3 is use pitch variation. If anxiety shows up, the voice usually becomes more flat. So adding some variation adds warmth and keeps you sounding more engaging. Personally, I'm not great at this. I try, and it doesn't need to sound over exaggerated, right? You're not performing. You're just allowing a bit more movement in your voice. Number 4 is to let the body help you. Sometimes when your mind is busy mentally, doing something physical helps. Things like stand tall, keep your head up, make eye contact, smile a little bit. Because often your body shows confidence before your words. Plus, focusing on what you're doing physically can get you out of your head. And number 5 is to use more pauses. Pausing is massively underrated. When you're anxious, you usually hate silence, so try your best to fill it with anything you can think of. But once you get used to them, they actually give your brain time to catch up, to think through what you're going to say. One tool that I found helped was the what, so what, now what framework. And this comes in handy when anxiety makes your mind go blank. This is something that happened to me constantly and it was extremely frustrating, and I really wish I had this loose framework to follow. So it's what, so what, now what. That's all we need to remember. For what, just ask something neutral. What have you been watching lately? What did you do at the weekend? Right, just get something moving. Next is so what. So this is where you find out why it matters to them, right? Why do you like that? What makes doing that enjoyable? And finally, now what? This is where you move forward. Depending on what they say, you would ask them what's their next move. Like, for example, would you do more of that? are you planning to do that again in the future? Now, all of those tips are great, practice them gradually over time, but the most important part is the attitude. If you leave a conversation and think to yourself, I didn't use a pause, I spoke too fast, I mumbled a bit, then these tips become another stick that you hit yourself with. That's not the goal. The goal is to maybe start a conversation, experience the anxiety and stay there. All these communication skills work best when they're practiced lightly. I know what it's like to barely speak, to feel like anxiety has taken over your entire personality, and I still have awkward moments and stumble over my words and overthink. But what changed everything was realising that I don't need to become this master communicator. I just need to stop treating every small mistake like proof something is wrong. Basically, it's about being okay with making mistakes and looking back on your conversations as practice, right? They don't need to be perfect, and that's something that you can build.